said
that
he is both dead and buried,
and
his sepulchre is with us
yes, right.
to this day.
David ain't in heaven. Says,
Amen.
therefore, being a prophet and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Christ and sit on his throne. He, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell, neither his flesh did see corruption. This Jesus have God raised up, whereof we all are witnesses. Therefore, being by the right hand of God exalted, and having received of the Father the promise of the Holy Ghost, he hath shed forth this, which ye now see and hear. For David is not ascended into the heavens, but he said himself, the Lord
said unto my Lord,
sit thou
on my right hand until I make thy foes thy footstool.
Therefore,
let all the house of Israel know assuredly that God hath made that same Jesus, whom ye have crucified, both Lord and Christ.
He made them both Lord and Christ.
Amen.
The Bible says, now,
when they heard this, they were pricked in their heart,
and
said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles,
men and brethren,
what shall we do?
Yes.
Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sins,
and
you shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost.
What else he said?
For the promise is unto you,
and
to your children,
and
to all that are far off,
even
as many as the Lord our God shall call.
And with many other words,
did he testify and exhort, saying,
say
yourselves from this untoward generation.
All right, well, until next time. One.
I've been listening to Church of the Lord Jesus Christ with Bishop Allen. You may hear him live every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. here, where the Master reigns, Gospel 800, WTMR, Camden, Philadelphia.
To restore you. You have lost everything of self. Now he wants to restore you back to self. When that you can do what we are preaching, that he's going, if we will believe and follow him. He didn't come here just to show us who he was. He come here to show us who we were, who we are, and then make us rulers. To be rulers, over rulers, you have to have superior wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I'm very happy to read where here we have in our midst Mr. Charles Reynolds. I guess that's the proper way. Architect. Well, it's taken an architect to design the universe. After our first father formed and designed himself. Think of a man being able to design his own farm. And he never saw another man before he saw himself. So Mr. Charles Pendleton, I guess that's the architect we need. Many of them. Because we are not only out to build some temples, we're out to build some towns and cities. Of our own design. Not out of design of Satan, who stole his design from us, but we want to create a new earth, a new us, and build a new world. Unlike Mr. Jacob's devil, we want to make a new world. You go by 48, 47 Woodlawn, you will see some houses going up there, and the design you never saw it before. So we're going to come down on the east side of Cottage Grove as far as we can. Some of the people backing out from selling for us now. You know, they're not backing out because they would not like to sell, but they want to rob. When they learn that you seems to be successful, they want to add. One brother we decided on to be our real estate agent and also salesman. He goes to some people we had already been to. And he brought me back to Christ yesterday of the building that we wanted in that area. And there were some of them that went up almost triple. I don't think it was the seller. It was this brother who thought we really wanted it, and he got in with the seller and told him he can get him more. And that more was for himself. We have some terrible people. That's why we can't get over with our works faster than we are doing. It's due to the fact that them that we think is brothers is in among us trying to rob us. Yeah, come over to rob his own brother. He don't care if we never have a world. Just so long as he can get out of this world all he can. But I know all of these things. I don't say I have the power to say be and there it is. But I have the power from my God to make it hard for you. Right. Yes. You're trying to make it hard for me. I can make it pretty hard for you. Yes. The man that is speaking, that you see stand here, acts and looks so common.
Greetings. I'm your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. Welcome to another edition of Muhammad Speaks Radio, where once again, this evening, I am your host, your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. In the most holy name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We forever thank Almighty God, Allah, for coming, as it was written that he would come. And we in the Nation of Islam believe that he has come in the person of a man, Master W. Farad Muhammad. We thank him for raising a leader, teacher, and guide in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It is in their great names that I greet you with the greetings of peace. We say it in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum, what simply means peace be unto you. Welcome to another edition of Muhammad Speaks Radio. And I am so excited, as I am always excited about every show, every opportunity I can get that I can come in front of people and share with you the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad by giving you the correct information and inspiration that our community need, that people need to make proper and right and guided decisions. And I think is the lack of knowledge that is destroying our people, is the lack of knowledge that is destroying this country. As you can see, the country is in, I would say political quagmire and changes. And, we living in a world that is, as we're taught as Muslims who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and what we call the changing of the guards, is the changing of a time where the world had reigned on evil, lies, murder, and deceit, that which we had been practicing come up under the past 4,000 years. And that's why it's so very easy and so very common to be a liar, to be evil, to be a cheater, and all the things that goes with it that keep people at odds with one another, the lack of freedom, justice, and equality, which comes with the lack of information. But as we say, this is the time of the change of guards, that we said in the religious quote unquote context as called the resurrection of the dead. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the resurrection of the dead is not a time in which we live in. It is not a Michael Jackson thriller movie or video. He told us that the resurrection of the dead, because we had learned that from our, oppressors. We have learned that from those who didn't treat us that well for the past 400 years that we've been in this country and struggled through slavery and Jim Crow and the civil rights movement and all kinds of movements, that we're still trying to sing them same old Negro spirituals. However, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the resurrection of the dead is the rising up of information of a people who would be raised from the dead, the mental dead, the spiritual dead, the economic dead, of people who were considered no people at all, of people who was just, made blind, deaf, and dumb, and that they would have what is called a reawakening. And we somewhat sort of in history saw this reawakening happening among all people, and particularly Caucasian people were in the caves and hillsides of Europe for over 2,000 years, as they were in the caveman state. And it was the prophet Moses that came among them and taught them civilization and the forgotten technology and knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And those people had what they call an awakening, and then they had what they call a reawakening of their information and their ability to do justice by each other, their ability to justify themselves and their existence on the planet. And they did that, and they did that in every way that they could, as it was given, as they were then given the reign to do whatever it was necessary to come up out of the caves and hillsides of Europe and go and conquer everyone and everything. The seas, the seas, the oceans, the sky. And we witness this. We're living this. We are people who are a product of this kind of rule. And that kind of rule, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, is ending now today. So this evening, we're going to talk a little bit about leadership and responsibility of leadership and the responsibility the ability of those of us that know and understand and the responsibility that we have to make sure that now we only culture and refine and civilize our people, but we are to be in the forefront of that cultural refinement and civilization of our people, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that a people who don't have the knowledge of self and is living a beast life, he said that they were considered savage. A savage is a person who do not have the knowledge of self and is living a beast life and living like the beasts of the field, like those who walk on all fours, that they have no compassion for humanity, no compassion for things. Their hunger, their greed just make them, and their anger and their emotions just make them the people who are just will give injustices to all. So as we learn and understand and know this history, we just want to make sure you know and learn and understand it, and that those who know and love and understand it, that we give you a quick and a short reminder of it and what the duty and responsibility of all of it is. So once again, I'm your brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, and we're going to talk a little bit about leadership, as I stated earlier. And I can't think of no one better to have this conversation this evening about leadership than to talk about our dear sister, Sister Nora Muhammad, who we know that is a great leader here on Muhammad Speaks Radio. You have heard her come on this particular platform. You have heard her on Nora Speaks podcast. And if you visited Muhammad's Temple of Islam, you have heard of her sometimes keynote the lecture on Sundays. You have heard her, just do so many magnificent things on many different platforms and many different circuits. And you have seen her in our community, that we can share most of the success that we have had, not only at Muhammad's Temple, but most of the success that we have had in particularly at the University of Islam. Sister Noah working with young people, whether it's young males and young females, and particularly young females, her work that she has been doing for quite some time, over decades. Um, and of course, that started with her training and her experience and her love and her knowledge of self that she have learned from her spiritual influences, which is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which starts first with the love of self, which is that is the only thing that is predicated on the love of others, that you must first love yourself. But how can you love yourself if you don't know yourself? So you have to know yourself, and you have to understand yourself, and so many other things and platforms, so that you can to be able to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about Sister Nora this evening and combine it with leadership, because as a civilized man and as a civilized person, a person who's striving for knowledge, culture, wisdom, and understanding, and freedom, justice, and equality, I want to make sure that you understand why we brought up this sister, Sister Nora Muhammad, because she is on the ballot with Mayor Vic Starfin this up and coming June 10th Democratic primary. And if you are a Democrat, the Democrats are going to be voting. If you are a registered Democrat, you're going to be registered and voting for the leadership, of course, starting first with our mayor, but we also have a governor, a gubernatorial race, and also county seats that are available. But we're talking particularly tonight locally here in the city of Camden. And I think some of the things that we're going to talk about is going to influence you. It's going to impact you and your city and your town. And that's why we can bring those things together and put them together and just talk about leadership, so that we as people and those of us in our community will be able to make wiser decisions. You know, there was a time in the 90s, there was a conversation going on about the what we call the dumbing down of America. And we saw America through media and America through its cultural influence. We saw this country get dumbed down to the position and point to where we at today, where some of us just can't really even imagine how we got here, how we got to this point with some of the quintessential points that it just seems like is just common knowledge, but it's not common knowledge today. But yet, as America got dumbed down, you know, the voter information and voter and the democratic process got easier and easier for just about anybody to to come in leadership, and that's where we at, and we can find ourselves at here in this country today. That on the backs of people who are, I would like to say, emotionally driven, people who are masters of misinformation. We are sitting in Washington, D.C. right now, not imagining how we got here and don't understand how we got here. Before we got to Washington, D.C., we had Democratic presidential primaries and didn't understand how we got to where we got at and tried to switch out. And it's, the people were just uninformed. And I think some of the reason is that we who are have the responsibility in leadership have a responsibility to give all that we can to our constituents, all that we can to our people, far as information and inspiration, so our people can make not only informed decisions in their lives, but informed decisions in their community. And they, when they make and better and informed, more informed decisions, then we have what we call a better community. But when you don't have that, and you have people who purposely go out and try to disrupt to make sure people can't make informed and great decisions, and then we have chaos, and this is what we see what's happening here today. So we're going to talk about so many of those things, but one of the points that we're going to talk about and tie everything into is our dear sister Nora Muhammad, who is on the ballot this up and coming June 10th with the June 10th Democratic primary with Mayor Vic Karstafen and City Council President Angel Fuentes, as well as City Council member Noemi Sorio Perez and our dear sister Nora Muhammad. And oh man, are we we who know her are excited because we know the role that she has played in the success here in Camden, not only at Muhammad's Temple, but as you know, Camden is a city and town that is moving forward. And Sister Nora Muhammad has been one of those key figures in this city that have helped Camden move forward in ways that you can't imagine, that you don't see all the time with the naked eye, because she's always been in the background. And whenever she's called to the forefront, she is well able and capable to hold her own. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, our dear sister Nora. So don't you go anywhere. If you would like to call in, give us a call at 856-962-8178. That's 856-962-8178 or 856-962-8179. If you would like to chime in, you've been listening to Muhammad Speaks Radio for some time now, and you've been hearing this sister, and you've been watching her movements. And if you've been in around Camden, you've seen her be for the past 5 years. I believe she was um, um, the Democratic co-chair of the Camden City Democrat Committee. And we also have a committee election going on today that we want you to support. Mayor Vic Karstafen, what we call Vic's Picks here in the city of Camden. And you should already have literature at your door. You should already have people knocking at your door, letting you know how important this election is, and how important every election is, but particularly this one, because we re-elected a good friend, Mayor Vic Karstafen, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about him. We're going to talk a little bit about his team. and we're going to talk a little bit about leadership. So I don't want you to go nowhere. Once again, 856-962-8178. We want to hear from you this evening, what you think about leadership, what you think about Sister Nora being on the ballot, and what you think about community in general. Although we're talking about Camden City politics, we know this mindset where our people in urban America, this mindset is prevalent, that we have those who want to give our people freedom, justice, and equality, and correct information, and the ability to make good decisions. And then we have those in the community who plays tricks and tells lies and do all of the things and the old tricks that were done on us that we do to ourselves, and that we learn from the master of how to play tricks and lies, just like he played tricks and lies on us. Then we come in your face and say, brother, 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 king, 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 or queen, queen, queen. And then we go act like the slave master in the way he treated our foreparents that got us to this position that we're here today. So we're going to talk about all of those things, but we're going to take a quick break. I do believe we got a call, but before we take the call, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. And if that person who is called in, just give us a moment. Let us make some adjustments. Let us get the opportunity to tell some people that Muhammad Speaks Radio is on the air, that they should be chiming in on WTMR 800 AM here in the Delaware Valley, or WTMRradio.com. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. I'm like the sky at night. You fall is so sublime. My dream are of you, my love, my love. Your love is so divine. There's joy our hearts.
If they get your arm help, that how creates more diseases in your body than you have any dreams of. In fact, about it, stop eating the heart, eat right, eat the proper thing, and you will find 75% of your sickness leaving you. Let's try it.
And Assalamu alaikum, and we are back, and it's always great to make transition. And, I don't know about you, but when I listen to a little bit of Lonnie Liston Smith, I just get into a little zone. As we like to say, it's brain music, to make you think and to make you really dig deep. And tonight we're going to talk about, again, leadership and what we should expect out of leadership, and why you should, if you here in the Camden area, in Camden City, that why you should pick Mayor Vic's pick and give Mayor Vic Karstoffen another opportunity here in this city to be reelected as a Democrat, and as well as his team, which is a team of Angel Fuentes, who have been around for a good moment and been a part of the changes in our city, and as we like to say, not the chatter, and as well as Noemi Sorio Perez, who I have a great deal of respect for. She is the first Mexican American here in the city of Camden to hold a seat in the office. And once again, for the very first time on this particular ballot, Mayor Karstoffen Vic's pick is Sister Nora Muhammad, whom on this particular platform you are quite familiar with, her ability to communicate, how her smile resonates and gets the information over to people, and just a great leader, great person that she is. So we're going to take a quick call right now. I think we have a caller that's been patiently waiting. Caller, you are on the air. Salam. Wa alaikum salam.
This is Sister Shabri Muhammad.
Sister Shabri, thanks for calling in.
Yes. So, in just speaking about Sister Nora, it's great to use her as part of this platform this evening because there's so much to be said about Sister Nora, and I don't want to take up a lot of time. But I just wanted to add that, we know all the wonderful things and the input that Sister Nora does currently. She has the podcast where she is mentoring to our people. The organization she's had for several years for young girls and empowering young women. You mentioned her being a co-chair, but Sister Nora is not new to community service by any means. I remember back in college when she was mentoring young children at what was it? It was barely a school at the time. It's really grown since then. Downtown. What is the name of that school? They were in trailers when we were in college. And I remember Sister Nora mentoring young people then. I remember her mentoring young teens in the mall program where she would feed them. The program was pulling children aside and, just helping them through some seriously trying times that they were having. She would go and work with girls in the detention center. She would come to our school, University of Islam, every Friday when we had preteen girls. She would come every Friday before returning to work and educate our girls on a variety of topics from self-care to healthcare, how to properly, hygiene and how to properly take care of themselves. And the list is just so long.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Another thing, just on my first day meeting her as a teenager, I remember she had an amazing love for her people.
And I know that love has grown, that amazing love that you're talking about, that she have had because she have studied under these teachings here, and that makes us and gives us the tools we need to help love our people, even when it's hard to love them. And they, but nevertheless, I know that Sister Nora not only is all that and those service things you talked about, but Sister Nora is a mother of two great boys who went to school here at the University of Islam, and she is a wife and been with her husband, whom she met at Muhammad's temple. Wow, it's been how long? It's been about 25 years ago.
25.
25 years. And I think Sister Shabri, you and I played a part in that, and her meeting her husband. And we're just excited for it. I'm glad that the community should get an opportunity to see her. So it's just we're going to talk about her for a couple of weeks, but I think we got another person calling that's waiting on us. So we got another call. Thank you, Sister Bree. Yes, we're going to take another call. Caller, you're on the air.
Brother Minister Marcin.
Wa alaikum salam. Well, Brother Jamil, thank you, brother. All praises due to Allah. Thank you for calling in, Brother Jamil, our dear brother out of the Windy City of Chicago and the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Nation of Islam, the National Archives.
Yes, brother. I bring, of course, the greetings from all the members here at Crow, brother. And, we couldn't talk about leadership, and then you're having a political conversation as well, so we had to call in from Chicago.
Yes, sir.
As I listen to you talk about Sister Nora and really America Staff and the entire team there. First of all, Camden is such a great city, and you all have been on this track to rebuild the city. And, a mayor, when he goes into his second term, is really when he begins to really hit his stride. And so I encourage the people to support the mayor, what he's doing, especially in his second term, so he can really continue to fulfill those goals and things that he's working towards, as far as his agenda. But when you get to Sister Nora, brother, and Sister Shabrice said a lot, and you mentioned some things, and I'll tell you, for those voters in Camden, Sister Nora is a wonderful sister, and you all know her impact. I think in this day and age, in addition to her love for her people, her qualifications, she listens. As a brain, well, as a person who's a psychology major, so she's trained to listen, to analyze, to think. And so, in a time where people don't think, they don't plan, they don't have the patience to do those things, you have a sister who, whether it's through her mentorship, whether it's through her service, she listens. She not only creates plans, but she has a track record where she's implemented things. She has a track record where she's shown that she puts in the work. She's a team player. All the things that you can want in someone who exemplifies servant leadership, he exhibits those behaviors, those characteristics. And so he doesn't have to have a title in order to serve.
Good.
But it would be very, very nice if the voters there would give her the platform to serve on a greater level for the residents of Camden.
Yes.
And, knowing her personally, um, watching her grow over the last 10 to 15 years, brother, has been amazing. And, every time we talk to her, in Chicago, we would love to have her here.
Yes.
And the things that she does, she just doesn't affect people in Camden and throughout the greater Delaware Valley, but she affects our people here.
Yes, sir.
And so she definitely has our support along with the mayor, who's a great, great brother who not only, does things there and has relationships, but he's making outreach to other municipalities, looking at best practices and whatever he can get as far as resources and tools and strategies for the betterment of Camden. And I know the other team with Fuentes and Soria Perez are also dedicated members of the team. And I'm just excited for you, brother. I just hope that the people understand that and really show up and support the team that you all have put together.
Yes, and Brother Jamil, and on that, before you go, and I thank you for calling in. I think we're going to get you one week as well as others from Crow, because Chicago is that town we would like to say that deals with politics and has been an example for many, many years on how you can monetize, your political influence in your towns and really get things done, from the great men who have been in that city doing work, from the Reverend Jesse Jackson and others, and of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the leaders of all leaders, the divine leader. But and I think it's a great conversation that we can have, because we got also responsibility of, as they talk about voter education. Yeah, I think that our people need that, that education on what they should be looking for, and what leadership look like. And that's not something we throw around lightly, because when we fall asleep at the wheel, then we see, the impact that how things go when we fall asleep at the wheel. We don't educate people on what to look for in the quality in the leadership.
Yes, sir, definitely, brother. And Our people need to know that. And if you notice, out of all the things I said about Sister Nora, now the people know that she's black. People know that she's a woman, she's a sister. But I didn't even have to say that. I was able to point out her attributes and her talents because, see, brother, we've had black faces in positions.
Go ahead.
We voted for the identity things before, but the substance
Come on.
of who Sister Nura is what distinguishes her as such a great candidate. And we know, as righteous followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that she is for justice for everyone.
Come on.
She loves her people, but she fights for justice for everyone.
Come on.
And so that's the important thing in the spirit of fairness. And so she's not fearful. She's already exhibited that she stands for her beliefs. She does not compromise those, but she is willing to listen.
Go ahead.
And then in the spirit of collaboration, to, look for successful outcomes. And so that's a whole separate conversation that we can have.
Go ahead.
But the substance of who that sister is, coupled with the integrity and the experience of Mayor Karstoffen, not just from his first term, but, he grew up there. He's homegrown. I mean, he's there, he's in the community all the time. And so you have this coalition on this slate here that has made not only inroads within the community that's from the community, but there's relationships throughout the state and abroad. And so I'm just excited with the momentum that you all already have built and the future of Camden, brother. And I'm just excited for Sister Nora and the community there, and really all the residents. I'm excited for what the future holds.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much, Brother Jamil. We look forward not only from hearing you soon, we look forward to seeing you soon. I think we have another caller. Caller, you're on the air. Salam alaikum. Caller, you on the air?
Oh, assalamu alaikum, Mr. Wasim. How you doing, good brother?
Wa alaikum salam, my dear brother. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. It's good brother Joe called from Philadelphia, talking to my brothers and friends. Brother Minister Wasim, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, thank Allah, brother. Thank you for calling. Always great to hear your voice.
Thank you, Minister Wasim. I appreciate that. Hello, and with my salams to your wonderful producer as well. Mr. I admit I tuned in a little late. Sister Nora, who I have a lot of respect for. Matter of fact, I talked to Sister Nora a couple of times when she did the show, and we have a mutual friend over here in Philadelphia who's a talk show host over here in Philadelphia. Me and Sister Nora know this sister real well.
Yes.
Sister Nora, is she running for any position, Minister White?
Yes, sir. She's been graced with the great opportunity to run on the slate as city council person on Mayor Vic Karstoffen's slate with two other incumbents, two great people from our community, Angel Fuentes and Noemi Sorio Perez, along with Mayor Karstoffen and others, and on our county team. And we're just excited about, we understand and know our leadership, and we're just glad that others get an opportunity to understand who she is, her fairness, how she has the ability to give freedom, justice, and equality, and that when we're made in this classroom that we're in, that we're made to get out and help our people and help people abroad.
I agree, and it gives me pleasure to follow Brother Jamil, because I want to thank people, brothers and sisters of Crow, because I just funny you had Minister Jamil, Brother Jamil call in Minister White saying, because I just got my new membership card from Crow. I renewed my membership.
Yes, sir.
Back here, and I just got it's a beautiful card. I just got in the mail just last week, as a matter of fact.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful card.
And this is to that, Brother John, I hate to interrupt you, I'm gonna allow you to finish, but I just want the people to know the impact of callers and people who we surround ourselves with, because people are known by who you surround yourself with. We all grew up in, as we like to say, the neighborhood, and our parents tell us about, who we hang around, and be careful who you're around, because the influence of others can impact your decisions. The influence of people can impact you. And so therefore, we make sure that we, around good company and good people, or servant leaders, people who are out here serving our people, not always looking for what you can give to them, what they can give to you as a result of service. And I'm glad you said that. The impact that Crow has been making all around this country, and being the National Archives of the Nation of Islam, preserving the history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and having great conversation in the work that they do that is exemplary around this country for all Muslim organizations, and any Muslim and any person of any kind that wanted to service their community with Crow TV and Crow Radio. They're about giving our people information, classes of general civilization classes that they have there. They're just concerned with generally giving our people the right information so that they can make informed decisions. And that's what this is really all about. But go ahead, Brother Joe. Go ahead and close out what you're going to say, because I believe we have another person on call, but go ahead.
You're absolutely right what you're saying, Mr. Westy, and that's why I love Elijah Muhammad. I love Crow, and I love what y'all doing over there in Camden. And Sister Norris, she's gonna be a great councilwoman. And as you know, Minister Westy, me being a former worker at Cooper Hospital, I'm gonna encourage all my friends, my Black friends, my Latino friends, to vote for Sister Norris. I'm gonna get on. I'll be doing a lot of phone calling for that Sister Norris. I want her to get elected, because we need her. And that slate that you mentioned, I know all those people. Andrew Fuentes, I know him personally. Nina Perez, I think that's his name. I know all these people personally.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I want Sister Nora on that. I want her on that city council. We need her and everything. I want her on there. Last point, real quick, Mr. Westy. You're right when you say how this country is in chaos or change. Because see what Donald Trump has done, Minister Westy. He has just pulled the covers off of this racist, corrupt system. And see, Trump is just doing what all these other presidents have done, pretty much, and stuff, Republican or Democrat, but he's just so ignorant and stuff that he just does it so open. He's like an embarrassment to them. They want to do the racism and all the cruel things. They want to do it with a certain, the core. But see, Trump is so ignorant. He just pulls the covers out. He's like an embarrassment to America. And that's what I close on that note, okay?
Oh, thank you very much. And always great, brother. And I look forward to hearing from you. And we look forward to campaigning together with our dear sister.
Yes, indeed.
Please,
yes, indeed,
please.
Love
Yes,
you, brother, Minister Westy. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I love you more, my brother. And caller, you're on the air. Next caller. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. This is Sister Nicole Muhammad.
Sister Nicole, how are you? Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, sir. Well, I definitely had to call in. Just loving the conversation. And, you talked about leadership. And I think it's such a wonderful time, this terrific team that the mayor has with Angel Fuentes, Noemi Sawyer Perez, and of course, Sister Nora Muhammad. She's a wonderful addition to the ticket. And, I've just seen over the years all of the sacrifices that she's made and the genuine love that she has for her community and wanting to see the potential in everyone that she encounters. And I think it's such a key point that Brother Jamil mentioned about her wanting justice for everyone, not just for select people, but for everyone. And that is her character, that is her personality. And, also when we think about leadership, it's what people do when others aren't looking.
Go ahead.
She has been dedicated in so many arenas, so many programs in the community with youth, and she's been involved with our seniors. And there's been such a great degree of sacrifice that she's taken time from herself, taken time from her family, because she wants so much for others. And, just the quality of people on this ticket. And I can attest, and just from seeing her, this was nothing that she was aspiring to be, but it is a natural course because of her genuine interest. She's not looking for a position. She's not looking for a title. She's not looking to be seen or to do things just for publicity. This is who she is. So it's a wonderful time for the city of Camden, and I'm just can't wait to see all of the greatness that is going to continue under the leadership of our Mayor Victor Karstafen.
Oh, thank you very much, my dear sister. Well said, and it's just a great, and it gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit and just to not necessarily transgress. You get that call off because I'm getting feedback, so that just to give me a little bit of time, not to transgress or go somewhere else. But I think our sister Nicole said something that was very important about her sister Nora's servant leadership, and we're talking about leadership and what we should look for in leaders, and a leader is known by the crowd and the company that it keeps. When you keep a great company and around servant leaders, then that kind of rubs off on you. Because one thing people don't like to talk about in leadership is how leaders have to use their influence to influence people to do the right thing. Leaders use their influence to influence people to come together in groups. Leaders use their influence in ways that you can't imagine, that sometimes people don't get a chance to see, because it's all in the things of what leaders do when the cameras are not around, when the TV lights are not on, but they're in the community, they're working with people, they're helping people, and they're not, those people, when people come around that have not good influences, leaders try to influence those people because we have to lead those people too. But leaders lead. And I think one of the ways of leading is using your influence in a positive manner instead of using your influence in a negative manner. And I see that, first of all, let's just make this dignified comment and statement right now. There's nothing that you can do to get Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad off of his post. And I don't quit my post until properly relieved, because I am a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and a member of the Nation of Islam. And we have rules, laws, and regulations. And quitting that post till we properly relieve is death. And we have great influences, among others, who have taught us how to lead in our community, have shown us. One I can talk about that I believe is viewing this show right now is Brother Captain Wali Bahar, who is the personal captain of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and just had a birth anniversary the other day. Shout out to our brother Captain. But he's 88, 89 years old, still going, close to 90, and he's still on his post, teaching and training and teaching, trying to use his influence and help people, and not using his influence to divide people. Not using his influence to make people who should be together at odds with one another. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the making of others on this planet. And one of the ways that they did it through the science of lies and tricks. And using those sciences of lies and tricks, that they would use this science to cause people to fight and argue with one another with the intentions on ruling them both. And that is the quintessential thing that has happened in our communities. It happened on the quarters of 400 years when we were on the slave quarters. And it's happening in our communities now. There's people who promote and perpetuate, lies, and promote and perpetuate, confusion, and all of the things that keep us together. Let me say real quick shout out too. I got as Sister Nicole and Brother Jamil and Sister Shabri outlined, and my brother who called in, Brother Joe, talked about our state senator. He was talking about Noemi. Pardon me. Noemi is a staffer of our state senator, but our state senator, Senator Nelson Cruz Perez, who I have so much respect for, who's been a servant leader for quite some time in the 90s and early 2000s. She have held many different posts. And I'm calling out the leadership of the community, and City Council President Angel Fuentes, um, Sister Noemi, Councilwoman Noemi Sori Perez, and others. There's a list of others. Councilman Falio Liba, Falio Liba Martinez, and others who are working diligently in their community. And I must say, it is exemplary how this community here don't have no opposition from each other in their community. And I just want to say to them that is exemplary. And I have to point that out. And I guess that show for great leadership. Now, doubling down to us in our community, and I guess that's a challenge to all of us of the work that we have to do in making sure our community, and maybe that's why our communities are in chaos everywhere we go, because that old thing of us fighting and arguing and going at each other in public just seems to go while we strengthen everybody else, and everybody else seems to have strength and power and working together to get their communities and represent their communities and get their communities and their wards up. It's always us who's clashing with each other. And I think, and that's a testament to the work that we have to do in our communities, on all of us. It's a sore eye for all of us, but some of us just work and are happy about confusion and division. Some of us just don't care about the way we look and the way our community looks to others. You can see people walk in the community and just throw trash down, and they don't care nothing about how the community look. They're gonna put the trash right out there. They don't care who's gonna see it. They want everybody to see it. They don't have no thought about it, but they go right to the mall, and all of a sudden they find the trash can. They're holding their hand because they have respect for others, but yet sometimes the respect for each other sometimes is questionable. And that's an indication, an indictment on all of us in leadership. I'm not picking on one purpose, one person, or one particular individuals or group of individuals, but it's open. It's always wide open with us, that we always fighting us and we're all going at us. And we have, I believe, and I'm not going to dignify the other names on this show. You can get no airtime on this show with me, but it's several of us going for one seat in our communities, and this is what we do. We love that infighting and letting the world see us disunited, and some of us just love it, and we love the chaos, and that's what we do. And I pray to God that we all can one day look at that and be all of us behave a little different and come a little different, because that's all you're going to get out of me. And as you see how this it's distinguished, that our dear sister Nora Muhammad, who's coming in that steed of this being distinguished, just like Mayor Vic Starfin and Council President Angel Fuentes and our dear sister Councilwoman Noemi Suriel Perez. These people are dignified people, and these people who are are servant leaders. They represent our community well. They don't get down in the gutter. And I want to say to those who are listening, if you waiting to see if Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad is going to respond to any foolishness, in 2024, you couldn't get me to respond to any foolishness in 2024. And we're going to proceed in 2025 and not responding to foolishness. We don't allow people to bring us down from a table. And as I would like to say, a table that, God promised the righteous that he would get us a seat at tables where, in the midst of our enemies who don't want us to have seat at tables. But if we stay focused, if we stay servant leaders, if we keep our eyes on the task at hand, which is helping our people, then we survive, and we keep going, and we keep shining, and we don't look back, and we definitely don't punch down, and for that term, but yet we just keep going. So we don't respond to silliness, nonsense, slander, and all of those things. And Sister Nora is such a magnificent candidate. I guess that they can just only say, "Hey, this is the only mudslinging we can do. We're gonna do it over here." They're gonna miss the mark. And maybe we can mudsling so much that we put wool over the people's eyes or mud in the people's eyes. Sound very familiar to to the books of the Bible and Quran. This is why pastors, ministers, imam, all of us who are on the rostrums or on the who have a bully pulpit, who have the opportunity to educate people, have the opportunity to serve our people and serve our residents, we owe our people a debt of gratitude. We owe our people the opportunity to be freed, made justified, and made equal by the information that they receive. You know, if we're going to give them misinformation, if we're going to do like the rap game, and I know some of you come up in the rap culture, in the rap area, and you want to bring that side of the rap culture, because all rap culture is not like that. You want to bring that side of the culture into political world, and the two don't mix. It don't go together. You know, our people need to see leadership and find leadership that is servant leaders that are dignified, that work on our community, that they see them in the community working, they see our people doing things. And I just want to say real quick too, as we're discussing this, and you know, and I understand this is a, you know, inside fight between the Democrats as the primaries are. And remember, the primaries June 10th, and you're going to get your ballot in the mail. If you vote by mail, please choose Mayor Vic's picks. Mayor Vic Karstoffin's team, made up of Mayor Vic Karstoffin, and we like to say bottoms up. And when you go to the council seat, start from bottoms up. You know what bottom up is. You know, don't act like we don't. We forgot from which we we came. But bottoms up. I ain't talking about at the club. I'm talking about bottoms up at on the ballot in the primary election among council seat 6, 5, and 4. And I believe that that bottoms up of that council seat is G4, G5, and G6. Sister Nora's name will be at the bottom of that list because the ballot is going to be a little bit different this year because of new legislation. And when it comes to the mayor, bottoms up in the mayor's column, F2, Mayor Vic Karstoffen. And when we go over to G column, which is for city council at large, start bottoms up, G6, G5, and G4, or 4, 5, and 6, or bottoms up, 6, 5, 4, with Sister Nora Muhammad in position number 6, Sister Noemi Sorio Perez at position number 5, and Angel Fuentes at position number 4. And remember again, F2, bottoms up in a position for mayor. And we hope that, you know, that you are getting it. You're going to get your ballot soon in the mail. And we need great people. And with Mayor Karstoffen that did some magnificent things. As I was going through some of the things as we talk about, because there's a book written on all of us, you know. In his book, in the King of King and the Judge of all judges has a different book on us, but there's a book that's written on all of us of our deeds, and our deeds are claimed to our necks. And even if we have done not so good deeds, that we have a beneficent and compassionate and merciful God that gives us an opportunity to turn those things around and do the right thing. And this is what the call of this show is all about, Muhammad Speaks Radio, because it comes from the spirit of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad of redemption and redeeming and the resurrection of our people. And our people is the black, the brown, the yellow, and the red, and even of the white, that we came to turn our people around and raise their level of consciousness and thinking by giving information that they may have never had, which is called the truth. All you got to do is tell the truth. As one said, that you ain't got to worry about telling a lie on someone, because the truth about us all is bad enough. So, but our people need the right information to make sound decisions. But as I was going over and reading, the accomplishments of Mayor Karstoffen and, things that he have done in the 4 to 5 years that he have been in office, brothers and sisters, it's just magnificent. And can I take the time just to read a few of these accomplishments. What time are we at? I know we're going to take a quick break in a minute and we're shifting. We're going to go on. But let me just talk about a few things Mayor Karstoffen has done in this city of why we're just not speaking about him because we like him, and we do like him. All right. We're speaking about him because he's results oriented and he's a strong and great leader. He's an influencer. He uses his influence to get things done in our community. He have paved over 300 repave over 300 streets in the city of Camden. And we in Camden can first start with 27th Street. If he didn't do no street, he did 27th Street in Camden, which has not been done in years and decades here in our city. And actually, the first time I drove down that street, which was in a long time, I drove down that street. I actually thought at the time I drove down the street before they did construction, I thought they were doing construction. You know, how you ride on a construction street and they don't have the pavement down yet, and you got to go over those, rocky roads and all that. I thought, but that they hadn't started the construction yet, And I said, wow. And to ride down that street now and just how smooth it is, if he didn't do any other streets, and he did three of them, 300 of them, that will be enough. He is historic. He is at the helm of a historic crime rate reduction. Violent crime is down 40% here in the city of Camden. These are statistics. These are facts. Okay, these are not people using our influence and using our voice to cause discord and disunity by lying and slandering people. Use your voice for good. Use your influence for good. Don't be so emotional, and don't get so emotional where you miss the mark of what quality leadership is all about. If you have to resort to as you know I, it- this the to things that are not so dignified, which things we should be a dignified people. We have already been undignified. We were made that way, and we've all shared in our undignified manner. But at 50 and 60 and 70 and 40 years old, we should have put away childish things, and we should be doing new things and making sure that we do new things with our people. He's reopening Elijah Perry Park. He had new parks and open space. And as I talked about, the reduction of crimes, shootings down 62%. And that's too much, but it's down 62%. 360 fewer lives lost in 2000 from since 2012. New parks, open space plan, 25 million in new parks, maintenance roadmap for 100 million is past improvements, and modernizing housing options. And we see more investment coming in the city, as we like to say, in the guts of Camden. We see what's going on at the waterfront and downtown, but we're starting to see some movement in town with some developers that's doing great work right here in Parkside. PBCIP, St. Joe's Carpenter Societies, and others are doing work. Some great individuals who are hitting gems in our community is doing some great work. Some the mayor featured, giving people opportunities, and that's what it's all about. And that's why those of us who are in leadership, we don't try to beat up and take down any indiscretion or any something in leadership, because in leadership you're going to understand you're not going to get everything right the first time, but leadership is about making decisions. And when you make a decision that you feel as though you could have made a different decision, you have to be able to pivot on that decision quickly and then make the right decision, because being indecisive in leadership or making no decision at all is the worst decision you can make in leadership, and all of these kind of things. And Walter Rand, he's presiding over the new Walter Rand Transportation Center that's coming to Camden. Over $250 million in that is coming to Rome, Camden. Corporate growth in our city in Camden, and water and sewer infrastructure upgrades. You see more construction in the streets and thinking about better and more and much more quality of water that our people is bathing in and drinking in and doing dishes in and everything that matters to revitalizing the city. And that's why it's important for those of us who are in the cloth, we would like to say, those of us who are in the pulpit, or the imams and the ministers, the preachers, all of us, we have to do our part to make sure, and doing our part. We just don't want to gather people against whatever leader and put it all on them. We all got to come in, we all got to get our hands dirty and get in this. This community ain't get like this overnight, and it definitely is not going to get any better overnight. And so we have to all have to dig deep, put our hands in, and get our hands dirty, and pick up our shovel and pick up our rake and our broom, and get to working in our community. If you are a worker, I've watched the man be so very generous to people when people weren't generous to him. But Mayor Vic Karstoffen and those of them with his team have went under them and made moves and did some great things in our community. And it's exemplary, and we should be picking up on those leadership qualities. Leadership ain't just about being around when the cameras are around. Leadership is not just about a week into office, then all of a sudden you the best council person or the best, leader in the city ever had. And we have yet to show our talents and seek our talents. And leadership has many ways in it that we all have to be able to do what it is that we have to do and be able to take criticism in leadership. If you're not willing to take criticism from people, then it's good criticism, and then there's also criticism of people who say, I got you now, you in leadership, and I have already hated you since we were younger, and I'm gonna show my hatred of you now, and I'm gonna show you how much I can hate you. We got that kind of people in our community too, but we got to keep rising and keep going and keep dealing with our issues at hand, and duck it, move it, get around it, and keep going. And that's all we can do in this community, is try to help to make our community a safe and decent place to live. And before we take a quick break and come back and close this show out, and I have another conversation, we're talking about leadership that we must have, that I don't know. You got a group of people who think that because in 2024 we were what we call the overcomers, that we overcame, pardon me, adversity. And that's part of leadership too. It's a part of a quality of being a good person. Because when you try to do good in this world, you're going to be tried on whether you want to do good or not. That's the world we live in. That's why Jesus, Muhammad, and Moses, and all of the prophets of old are examples of us, of people, examples to us. And of course, the last and greatest messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that when you're in leadership and you want to do right by your people, our people is going to try us to see if you want to do right, because they're going to malign you, they're going to beat you up, they're going to devour your name, and you try to ruin your reputation to see if that's what you really want to do. And as a tried stone, as the example of the scriptures of what the book is talking about, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us, and this is a part of the conversation I want to have with a particular group and a particular people there on social media who try to take jabs because they think of adversity, CT, of 2024, that brothers all of a sudden down because you see me, you watch me on social media work and go and deal. And I'm not talking about anybody locally, because the local critics, when you go low, we keep going. Okay, you got to catch up. Okay, we don't go that low, but I know we have some, and there's times when you go low, and as one famous council person, the late, I can't think of my man's name, he said, when they go low, we go lower. But we not in shock, in politics. We decide to do it differently because Islam dignifies, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. But to see all through the years the work we've been doing here in the city of Camden, then all of a sudden you question me on and my name, outside of telling you that our address is 1157 Hatton Avenue in Camden, New Jersey. That's there on Hatton Avenue. You'll see the big, beautiful flag of Islam, the universal flag of Islam, flying on the highest building that the flag of Islam is flying on here in the city of Camden. And if you know and if you watched us, without being facetious, if you watched us, you would know who the leadership is here in the city of Camden. You would know that. And I'm not even going to dignify you with an answer, because when you do mischief on social media and we don't have any pictures to go by to see who you are, one thing, we can't argue with a spoof and we can't argue with a mystery God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the 5%, the 10%, and the 85%ers. We're well aware and well qualified to lead today. But when you ask those questions, we know it's mischief at the end and beginning of it. Because if you have watched us over the years, you would know what we believe, what we stand for, and what we do. Most importantly, that we're not a bunch of talkers. We're not internet gangsters. We're not people who just talk and pull down. That we're people that pour into our community. We pour into our community. Sister Nora has been a part of a group of people who give their all to help our people and the people in our community. If you were to visit us, just walk around the Parkside area and ask the question to some people about Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, and they'll tell you about the servant leadership and the impact that we have made in our community. That where we at, that you see improvements, where we at, that you see operations, where we at, you see movement. And as you heard in the opening of this show from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you heard him say that what he was all about in purchasing land and other things to help the nation, help our people, help us to help you. And some people like to get stuck and being 10 percenters, teaching people about mystery gods. And I'm saying, and there's a lot of that that's going around. But if you talking and ain't backing your prayer, if you talking and praying and you ain't backing your talking up and praying with movement, and we can't see positive change and positive results, then you are a 10 percenter, blood sucking the life out of our people and giving them nothing back. Now, we all have humble beginnings. We all struggle to make it in this society, because we understand that what this society have done to poor people. It sucks the blood out of them. That's what they supposed to do. And that's why we're the righteous teachers. But the righteous teachers is to give all that we can and magnify the glorified God that we believe and follow. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that after him, meaning his mission, comes God himself. And we will only bow when we see our equal. My late brother, one of my mentors, Brother Munir Muhammad, would always say that after Allah and his messenger, the Nation of Islam, you are either equal or less than. And when you're equal, we bow to you. And we can go on to even to those who are less, who are what we could say, quote unquote, less than. But there's no big I's and little U's in being a Muslim. But nevertheless, we only bow to our equal. And when we see one that is superior, we will bow to that one. And we have yet to see anything like the likes of the leader, teacher, and guide of the Nation of Islam, and that is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Whether he's dead or alive, he is the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam. And until we see that kind of leadership, brothers and sisters, we will bow to that kind of leadership. And I think you, those who are being internet gangsters and talking and trying to create mischief, and if I'm wrong, and you are sincere in your question, then I would apologize to you in advance. But I have been around. I'm not no Johnny come lately yesterday. I've been around. We've been around, and we've shown forth our work, and we've shown forth to try to set ourselves and make ourselves approved. the scripture talks about. And, we're known for the work that we're doing, the impact that we make, and the influence that we have. And when we see people trying to be mischievous, and, actually to the comment that was made on that page is that you would have got more favor from me if you would have said, hold on, when we see a brother being rude and ignorant to another brother, I don't care who it is, especially if it's a child. I come from the generations that adults, that you couldn't talk around adults loudly, let alone hissy foot and piss your teeth, okay, and this and that adults would stop you in your track and say, respect that adult, because I don't care how right you think you are or how right you are, that you will always be wrong when you're being disrespectful to adults. You will always be wrong when you're being disrespectful to adults. And when adults sit there and allow children to be disrespectful to adults, we are questioning your adulthood. My father would say, there ain't nothing like a fool, but he would say, there ain't nothing like an old fool. And let's put some balance on that. Although we should always be respectful to all. And that's what we promote. And that's what we're going to keep promoting. So we're going to take a quick break, brothers and sisters. Don't go nowhere. We're going to come back and close this show out right. We're going to talk a little more about our dear sister and the question and the quality of leadership, Sister Nora Muhammad, who's on the ticket with our Mayor Vic Karstafen, and Hal Fuentes, Noemi Soria Perez, Sister Nora Muhammad, and the Camden City Democrat Committee.
Hey, picture you. He have power with God, all right. And when a man have power with God, right, he have power with a mighty good man. I don't have time to preach those shouting sermons, but teaching you. Right. You need teaching. You don't need no jumping and hollering sermons. Well, I could do it if I wanted to. Yes, sir. But I don't want to do that. You had too much of that. And now still with no knowledge. I want to teach you. Yes, that's what I want to do.
And Assalamu alaikum, and we are back, my dear brothers and sisters. It's great to wind down on this show from the words and wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and letting us know then, and it still is in effect today, how important it is to teach our people, to give our people the right guidance, and to be a good influence of our people. Because sometimes, brothers and sisters, sometimes all of us need to be talked down off the ledge. You know, when we ready to make emotional decisions, we're not thinking 5 times, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad suggested to us that we should do. You know, think 5 times before speaking. Think 5 times before acting or reacting to certain things, and you'll calm down a little bit. But you know, with the proper teaching and being a good influence of our people, is because sometimes we all get emotionally driven or can get taken off or moved off of our square from anything. This is a very volatile world that we live in. But a good influencer, when someone come to you, we, you know, are obligated sometimes with the, you know, right responsibility in leadership is to advise people right, advise and give people great or better advice, because they're looking to us in leadership to be influenced to them, to be greater influences to them and greater mentors to them. And if people have the right knowledge and space, but see, when you want to use the people and you want to abuse the people and you want to use people for your agenda, you know, you generally don't think about the individual and what's going to come with the person as an individual, because you're thinking about yourself and your agenda. And sometimes we use that influence with people and to be somewhat the wrong influence to give to people. And then we find them and us in a mess. And that's what we try to do, because leadership is not only talking somebody off the ledge. Sometimes in leadership we push somebody to the ledge when we see them need to give a little more, when they need to, you know, because sometimes being emotionally driven can get us going and you know, make us move, because sometimes we can overthink things. You know, we can be overthinkers, you know, think too much. And even though we want to get you to think, but sometimes you just got to get out there and go and you know, psych yourself up and have others around you that will make an informed decision and psych you in and to get you to move off the ledge, but yet with precision, based on facts and not based on emotionalism or my or that person individual's self-endowment of what their agenda and what they're trying to do. And I think that all goes into why we're making a case for our dear sister, Sister Nora Muhammad, as City Council here in the city of Camden, having the, pardon me, distinguished honor to run alongside Mayor Vicar Starfin and Angel, City Council President Angel Fuentes and Noemi Sorio Perez. And Noemi Sorio Perez was our keynote speaker at one of our graduations at the University of Islam when my daughter, Sister Wasia Muhammad, was graduating, going to Lincoln, and we thought it was best that we would choose a Lincoln grad. Our dear councilwoman, Noemi, pardon me, Sorio Perez, and her wonderful husband and great family, and the new inception of her newborn son getting, you know, growing on us right before our eyes, and you could tell he's going to get a great wealth of knowledge and wisdom and experience of having such great parents, and it's just great things that we can see that's happening. So I want to tell you again, this June 10th here in Camden County, to support the Camden County Democrat ticket all the way down to the Camden City Democratic ticket of Mayor Vic Starfin's re-election. Angel Fuentes, number 4. Number 5, Noemi Sorio Perez. And number 6, Sister Nora Muhammad. And at the bottom, the Camden City Democrat Committee for committee members. And there's going to be 64 committee members. The committee will be all the way down at the bottom. There's 64 committee members. And I think the committee is H1 will be the city committee that you should choose. Position H, number 1, and as well as the city council team G4, 5, and 6, and Mayor Karstafen, of course, which is F2. That's the Camden City Democratic team. And go Mayor, go Vic Karstoffen, go Angel Fuentes, Noemi Serio Perez, and Sister Nora Muhammad. My dear brothers and sisters, this is about bringing my time to a close. I thank you for enduring us for this past hour or so. And I hope that the words that I have said to you take root from the sincerity of my heart. These words are not to tear down. This words is to speak life into people and give them life. And that's why we call it the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we're not going to tear down, although we fight with those who fight with us, but we fight with them in the like manner of the fight. But nevertheless, sometimes, if, as they say, stick and stone don't break your bones and names will never hurt you, every fight is not worth fighting. And some of these fights is not worth fighting, especially when you start becoming undignified and really making a fool out of yourself and others around you. We won't even go in that way because our people have been undignified too long. My dear brothers and sisters, I say to you, love yourself and love your kind, and particularly your black self. Love your black self and love your black kind. Ain't nothing wrong with you and I and our blackness, but our blackness is to be given to the brown, yellow, and red man that makes up the black nation because God has chosen us as the new rulers of our world. Thank you for listening. May God bless as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
That this word will be multiplied into their heart. Yes, sir. To cover the 30 or more million people of ours. Yes, sir. Here in America. Yes, sir. We are happy to say to them that listen for those few minutes that we are your brother and your sister. And that we want you in a circle of safety from a Savior that is willing to save you and me. Thank the Master, Rod Muhammad, Almighty God, for coming to save you and me. And the word that you have heard of him, please take them to heart. Go forth wherever you may go. And tell others of your kind that the Savior have arrived.